are going to share our top 5 English footballers of all time. Now, I've asked Jack and Dan to come up with a list from number 5 to number 1 of who they think are the top 5 greatest English footballers of all time. I've done a list as well, and I'm going to go out there and start with Dan. But before we do, the rules were I said to them that to just go with their full careers as well as their club level and international level. So even if they didn't play well for their country, but they did well at club level, then they can also be considered. And of course, for anyone out there who says, like, well, why didn't you have Gordon Banks or Gascoigne and all that? Well, that's because they were before our time. We didn't really witness them properly, and only the stats we can read online. So I'm going to start off with Dan Middleton. You're going to go with number 5 to your number 2.
Yeah, you're going to love this as well, because you just mentioned the rules there, and for obviously all the people watching and listening to this now, I did not get those specific rules beforehand, so I've not gone based on club, I've gone strictly on country, so mine will be a little bit different, so I'm guessing Jamie's and Jack's. 5th, I've gone Gordon Banks.
Oh.
Purely for the penalty save, England's best ever goalkeeper for me. So he had to go in there just simply based on that. I mean, when people talk about England goalkeepers, the likes of Paul Robinson and Bob Green just don't quite fit the boot. So I'm going to go with Banks at 5. At 4, I mean, there's a little bit of a toss-up this one between 4 and 5 with Banksy and David Beckham. I've gone at 4. His one of a right foot, we all know it was just outstanding. But against Greece, you don't need to say anymore. That was one of the best we've ever taken in a situation as well. Pressurised situation, but just for what he's done in an England shirt, just as a right winger or a right midfielder as it was strictly back then, he was the most gifted right midfielder I think we've had in a long time. So David Beckham had to be in there. 3, I went Jeff Hurst. Again, I'll reiterate, it's based on purely country. Thanks, Jamie. Jeff Hurst again, only man to score a hat-trick in a World Cup. I mean, it was incredible what he did in '66. So for me, Jack Hurst has got to be in there. So he's gone in at 3, and at 2, I've gone Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, okay.
More of a recent figure, but obviously goal scorer, and what he's done in an England shirt has been quite remarkable since he started playing in the Premier League at such a young age and built his career to a level that makes him one of England's best ever strikers, and really one of England's most underrated players, because I think he got quite a lot of stick during his international career, which I don't think he deserved really. I thought he was always there or thereabouts goal scoring. He was an absolute menace to centre halves and gave him no time on the ball, and I think we missed that now. Obviously had the likes of Vardy, he gave the international game up. But we've never really had anybody like Rooney, and I think he came into his own England shirt, and I think he's rightfully in there at number 2.
I mean, it's an interesting one. Jeff Hurst, he was. It's mad because he's the only man to ever score a hat-trick at a World Cup final, which is an achievement in itself because it is the fixture of all fixtures. It's the biggest fixture in world football. So the fact that that record stands since 1966 is quite an incredible record that hasn't been beaten. Jack, you've heard the list from Dan. What do you think about that list, especially Wayne Rooney at number 2? Because not everyone had him as their cup of tea.
No, well, I didn't add Wayne Rooney to my list. He isn't in there, and I get everything. I think in terms of Dan, I think all these lists are going to be like personal and reasons as to why we've picked players. In terms of Wayne Rooney, like I have like respect for Wayne Rooney and what he's done in terms of his career internationally and club level. But yeah, just for me, he's just sort of not my cup of tea, and probably because I used to just swear at him every time I used to watch a game that he was involved with. I'd normally be swearing at him. So for that reason, he's not in my team. But I do like, Dan's listing. That's good.
And actually, Jack, it's now your turn to pick your 5 to 2. What is it?
Excellent. So at number 5, I have gone for Bobby Moore.
Bobby Moore, yeah. World Cup winner.
The captain to lift the 1966 World Cup. So for me, enough said in terms of his national club level as well. The amount of appearances he did for West Ham as well, and everything like that. So I think for me, it has to be in the top 5. At number 4. I think, like going with Dan said, I think obviously Dan's gone for Wayne Rooney, like he said. It was difficult for me to pick like an England striker that sort of either I watched growing up or I've seen clips of, and things like that really sort of, when you saw him up front, you were like, he's going to get a few goals in this game, or he's going to look good. So at number 4, I went for Alan Shearer.
He did score a lot of goals. He did.
For whether that be, because I know, like Dan said, his was just England level. I've obviously gone for England and club level, and obviously what he did for Blackburn, Newcastle, and things like that. For me, he has to be in the top 5.
Do you ever think Alan Shearer's career, Dan, could have been so much better? Because he was so close to joining Manchester United. The only thing that was missing was trophies in his career.
But he's the all-time leading Prem goal scorer. You can't get much more than that. That's the epitome, isn't it, for any striker at that level? I think whether he had any regrets, I don't know personally, but I think you have to ask him yourself. But I think from a personal point, I think he'd be quite happy with his career. If I'm honest, I don't think he'd change much about it. I think it's almost like one of those things. If you go back and try to change something else doesn't work out, or if he joined United, he used to say he could have got injured halfway through a season because every game's different. So I think the way it panned out for him, I think Alan Shearer was arguably the best ever Premier League striker, and I think if Jack's basing it on club and country, I think he's got every right to be in there.
It's funny, Jack. When Match of the Day recently picked their best strikers of the Premier League, Shearer won by most votes. So, of course, it's all about the goals when you rank strikers like that. But I think what's a big achievement for Alan Shearer as well, he played for Newcastle, who weren't, now and again they were a top team under Bobby Robson when he was the manager, but the fact that Shearer was still able to provide year in, year out with a team that was up and down throughout his career, he did alright, really.
Yeah, I think in terms of that, when you were saying about would he regret anything, I also agree with Dan in the fact that, he could have joined United, he could have won trophies and that, but the legacy he left at Newcastle, like, all the fans completely love him, even though he had that horrible spell of managing them when they went down. People have completely forgot about that.
It was garbage as well.
He didn't have much time though, did he? They gave him it when it was already done and dusted, I remember, but it was always a tough one. But go on, Jack.
No, I was just going to say that the legacy he left behind in terms of Newcastle and his club career was immense. At number 3, I have gone for David Beckham. More in what, like sort of Dan mentioned, in terms of, I remember watching that free kick he scored at Old Trafford. I remember sitting there watching it, and obviously being Welsh, Mum's obviously an England fan, born in England, and she was celebrating as much as I was, because it was like, wow, this guy is immense. Dan mentioned it. One of the best right foots we've ever seen, sort of in football. I remember watching the United Legends game. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah.
And he was still pinging them across the pitch, and it was just like this guy is unbelievable. And I think not only that, his England career was obviously, he helped in many games. He helped shape the MLS to an extent, because obviously he joined LA Galaxy when the MLS was just sort of starting, and now you see that the stars that have gone to the MLS, the likes of David Villa, Wayne Rooney, Ibrahimovic went to LA Galaxy as well. He sort of made and create MLS football, and then of course he's gone to clubs such as Real Madrid, AC Milan, PSG, and obviously his career at Manchester United as well. So for me, David Beckham is easily in the top 3, and then a lot of people might say I'm a bit biased towards this one, but I've gone Frank Lampard at number 2. Now there will be people that have gone, but Gerrard's not in the list, and such. But the thing is, you could say his England career wasn't the best. He's high up on terms of England caps, but in terms of, there was always that debate on who would be in the midfield, who was best to play in that midfield, whether it be Scholes, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, and all that sort of thing. So I think that was always something that hampered the 3 of them, really, in terms of who would be the best to play there. But in terms of his club career, the highest scoring midfielder in the Premier League, for me, even though I'm
You're
biased.
putting Alan Shearer in there, Jack. You got to put Frank Lampard in there.
Yeah.
For the same reason.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me as well.
Yeah, so for me, even though I'm biased in being a Chelsea fan, for me, how could you not put the highest scoring midfielder in the Premier League in? So for me, at 2, Frank Lampard.
It was funny because before we started recording this, they were showing the full Germany-England match from the 2010 World Cup, and Lampard was a driving force into trying to help England get back into that game. And when it was at 2-1, let's not forget he actually did score. He did get a World Cup finals goal, but then seconds later it was cut short. The celebrations, as somehow the referees were having a
Where's
pie.
the when you need it?
Oh, I know. The technology back then was terrible. The fact that they could not see that cross the line, it was so obvious. And actually, I look back at Manuel Neuer, who saw it cross, and I'm thinking, you know what? Screw you. Fuck you. You should have just accepted that it went in and actually had good sportsmanship. Went, yeah, fair enough. He scored.
Don't tell me you wouldn't have done the same situation.
No, but
100%. I've just been mugged off by one of the best goals I think I've seen from Frank Lampard. And yeah, it's got about 3 yards over the line. If I'm the keeper, I'm going, no chance.
To be fair, England were also screwed because they had Gareth Barry at centre defensive mid in that game, and he was trying to track back when they counter-attacked.
That was bad. And I remember watching the game before, and like every time we had the ball, they put pressure on us, and we were just rattled. But no, Frank Lampard has had as you say, the Chelsea career has been absolutely stunning. I've heard from you guys from 5 to 2. I'll go with mine then. So at number 5. You're going to look at me a bit weirdly now. Harry Kane. I know there's probably mixes here and there, but the reason being is because he's already won a Golden Boot at the World Cup. He's got 2 Golden Boots already in the Premier League. His goals for England, I think, if I can remember, it was 34 goals, and the highest is just near 50 of Wayne Rooney. The fact that Harry Kane, if he continues like this, he's only 26, he could easily break that record if he carries on as he does.
Can I put in it?
Go ahead.
Harry Kane for me would be nowhere near my list because if he'd squared it to Stoke.
I know. Oh, that was a horrible moment.
He's not allowed to be anywhere near anybody's list for that reason alone.
So your list is already null and void.
Yeah, I'm still pissed this day. Oh, it's horrendous. Every time I think about it, it's a nightmare.
Oh, it was the greatest but most saddest summer ever.
Disgusting.
At number 4, we're going to go. At number 4, we're going to go to a Golden Boot winner again, Gary Lineker, for what he did for England, especially winning the Golden Boot in 1986. But then in the 1990 World Cup as well, he played very well. He was up there. He scored many goals in his England career. He did very well for me. And Gary Lineker as well. He was international, and he went to the likes of Barcelona. He played for Leicester. He played for Tottenham. He went all over the place to become a great footballer. So I think Lineker certainly gets himself in the top 5 for me. At number 3, I think one of you said Bobby Charlton. I've gone with Sir Bobby Charlton as well because he was a World Cup winner. Highest goal scorer for England until Ray Rooney overtook it, and at Manchester United until Ray Rooney overtook it. So, as Dan mentioned at number 2 for Rooney, you can see why, because of the records Ray Rooney's had to break to get up there. At number 2, who could cross a ball better than David Beckham? Absolute legend, David Beckham. Jack Price said it absolutely. Jack Price said it absolutely spot on. About that charity match. He can still do it. He doesn't even play football anymore, and he can still cross a ball like no tomorrow. It's absolutely fantastic. I think for what he did at Man United, winning the treble in '99, that really got him going in his career. And the guy has scored a few World Cup finals goals. He knows what it takes to do it at the world stage, and he's been everywhere. Every big club you can think of, he's been there. Even if it's just training with them. He's been there. And then we will go to our number 1. Okay, Jack, let's go to you for your number 1. And why?
Oh, my number 1. I love how you've gone to me first. In terms of actually, before I go there, in like the top 5 and that, there was literally loads of people I could have added. So I think it was actually a really good idea that you've put 5 because it made me actually think about it. So because I could have added like Tony Adams. I used to love Tony Adams growing up as a kid. Obviously, John Terry is another one of them that I'd grown up watching. He's not in there. There's a shout for like Rio Ferdinand was another one in terms of that centre back lineup. And being a person that used to play in defence, they were the people that I'd grown up watching. Ashley Cole was another one. But in terms of who I've gone for number one, Dan might be surprised and you might be happy about it. But for somebody who, if I had to pick like an England player that I would instantly put in my team, somebody that would defend well, pass well, and even get a couple of goals. For my number one, I had to put Paul Scholes in there.
Yes! Yeah, nice one, Paul Scholes, eh? I'm a bit surprised, Jack. I'm a bit surprised. But no, Paul.
6 for me, special mention.
All 6 for Dan. I mean, Dan, what do you think of that? Paul Scholes, a two-time Champions League winner, especially. He did it all at club level, but England level, he wasn't in the right positions, was he? Though that was the problem.
This is my problem. I don't think we ever saw Scholes at his best in an England shirt. I think that was one of the biggest regrets. Trainer and Ericsson would have. I think it was the biggest regret for any England fan, really, to miss somebody of that quality.
That whole squad, really. When you see that team photo, they put out.
Absolutely. I mean, we've said this many times when we've been talking on air or off it. That it was criminal that the team didn't win anything. Paul Scholes is one of the best ever midfielders in the Premier League. From an international standpoint, it was a shame we missed him. And that's probably the reason why I didn't put him in the top 5 from a personal point of view, was the fact that he just didn't quite that we thought he would at a bigger level.
Yeah.
But I don't have a reason. Obviously, I can relate it to you now, Jack, but that would be the reason why he wouldn't be in my top.
Yeah.
Dan, let's go with your number one.
So my number one was somebody that I thought deserved to be there, but I thought my sole reason was the fact he's the most gifted England player. I think I had the blessing to see highlights of really, and it's Paul Gascoigne.
Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah, from just one of the most gifted football players, most gifted fielders I think we've had in a long time. People like Gary Lineker rave about him and how good he was, and you just have to look at his documentary that was released. Just some of the goals he scored and just the way he went about things. He had that determination, he had that grit in his teeth. He's always willing to work and always joking around, but knew when the time was to switch on. And as a footballer, he was absolutely unbelievable. Whether that's, again, goal scoring, whether that's just breaking up with tackles, interceptions, that's just leading a team. And the fact he's been through a lot and coming out the other side, I think, is a testament to him. And the fact that people that have played at that level have said how good he was, I think, is enough for me to put him at number one.
I think as well with Paul Gascoigne, he had something that not many strikers had, which is a character. He was. I mean, I can't imagine what the managers had to deal with him in the dressing room. I'm sure he was a fantastic laugh. Don't get me wrong, but I bet at times he wasn't easy to manage England level. But I think his highlight was no doubt Euro '96. Dan, he was great in the group stages. He got that famous goal against Scotland at Wembley.
So Henry for a hot dog there, didn't he?
He did, yeah, he did. And also, a semi-final place at the Euros with England and a semi-final place at the 1990 World Cup. So, for Gascoigne, he did it for both club and country, didn't he, really? And, we all see that sad picture of him pretty much crying his eyes out because he knows he was going to miss the World Cup final if they had beaten West Germany in the semis.
So, yeah, I think Paul Gascoigne is the most gifted player we've seen in an England shirt. And just a shame that it was a little bit before when I was born that I didn't get to see him live. It was mainly highlights, but yeah, for me, guys.
So we've heard from Jack. It was Paul Scholes at number one. We've heard from Dan, and it was Paul Gascoigne at number one. So who's number one for me? And I have to join Jack.
Keep the Pauls going.
Paul Kaczewski.
Paul Kaczewski, exactly not. It is Paul Scholes. Probably no surprise for Jack and Dan. They know I'm a big admirer of Paul Scholes.
So this is just completely biased then?
Yeah. 2 against 1, Dan. I've had to go with Paul Scholes because mainly because of club level, as we've already mentioned, but also the fact that even when he got older, he just seemed to create a new role in midfield under Sir Alex, where he just controlled everything. He didn't have to run. He just had to look around him and have that awareness to just basically get the job done. And the fact that he would link up with Giggs, Cristiano Ronaldo, Paul Scholes, Wayne Rooney and all that, you name it, he just absolutely nailed it. And I remember there's always been photos of him surrounded by Chelsea players or Liverpool players, and you watch the next picture and he gets out of it, or he just seems to do these long deliveries up front. It's absolutely incredible. And as well, even early on in his career, he was a striker, and then he went into midfield, then he went further back, and then he just got slow and he had no legs left. But I think, for me, my highlight was when he... Not the handball against St. Petersburg in the Super Cup, but the other one where he retired, and then he went to Mike Phelan, and he said, you know what, I think I could come back. I think I could just play one more season. He comes back in, I think it was January 2012, and he even tells someone at his local shop, he asks him, why are you buying boots again? You're retired. And he goes, you'll find out on Sunday. There he is, going out at the Etihad Stadium, playing against Man City, and he wins one more Premier League title before he retires. Absolutely fantastic career. Anyway, my thanks to Jack and Dan for nominating their top 5 England footballers of all time. Let us know in the comments below, who do you think are the greatest England footballers ever in this world of football? So give us a like, give us a subscribe, and comment below. And the police are after me. We better go. That was a good way of wrapping it up.
That's Harry Kane. He's waiting outside and the police found out.